Saw that Portland. Was it Sacramento went to double OT last night. Everyone got triple doubles. I mean
Dude, I
hockey.
had a stupid same game parlay. I needed Monk to hit a second three. It
Hey,
never came.
well, boys, we're on to Tuesday. Fellas, not just boys. It's January 7th. Chuck Silver, Nick Marro here with Occupy Fantasy to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. Fun one today. Have the model sorted by DK ownership right now. A couple chalky pieces up top, but ownership seems fairly spread out for a 7 game slate. Nick, how we feeling about today?
Good man. I mean, we've had a lot of injury news lately, but today it feels like we're kind of waiting on it more than usual. Like we kind of had stuff early in the day. Today there's a lot of moving parts, especially in one of the late games. We got Boston and the Nuggets. But yeah, I don't know. Some pretty good games. I think it's a TNT slate, which is always fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's just get into it. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, sort by OF index. Obviously, Jokic is at the top. Just not even. He's like 2 tiers above Anthony Davis, Tatum, Lamelo. We did get news that Jokic just got downgraded to probable. I'm not adjusting anything yet, but we really need to keep an eye on that news because, like Nick said, it's the last game of the night, and that's kind of slate changing if we don't get that until kind of late. So, how are you handling this?
I mean, I don't like the downgrade like Powers mentioning in chat, but the fact that he's only downgraded to probable, I mean, he probably just has like a sore throat or something. I'm guessing he's good to go. Unless we see that downgrade again, I'd be more concerned. Or like usually when they downgrade, they go right to questionable. Like a downgrade to probable is strange. Like I don't think we have a lot of data on that. I'm not too concerned right now. Probable is probable to me.
Yeah, it is illness, so maybe he started coming down with something, but I don't think we do anything until we if he gets downgraded again to questionable, I will take him out if he's questionable. But other than that, I'm going to leave him in right now.
You know,
Let's see, Savage Styles. It is money time. Let's get it. Rear Finch, new name. Nice to see you. Unicorn Love. Yeah. Good evening. So let's jump into the first game. We'll save Denver for last. Maybe we hear something else. We probably won't. But Phoenix versus Charlotte. Phoenix, new starting lineup. Ryan Dunn and Mason Plumlee while Nurkic and Beal come off the bench. So tell me about Phoenix.
yeah, Phoenix is tricky right now, man. I mean, we had a lot of people asking about Plumlee last night. I said I didn't trust the minutes, and then he came out in 12 minutes, almost hit value. I felt pretty stupid, but then I felt vindicated that he didn't really come back in the game. I don't think we can trust him as long as Nurk is healthy, even though he looks like good value. It's just the minutes are so inconsistent. Against most teams, too, they're kind of willing to go small. Even with Royce O'Neal out, we're seeing KD at the 5 at times. Iguodala, when he's healthy, is getting some run. But yeah, man, I mean, if anything, it's getting me to more Ryan Dunn. He's kind of priced where he should be at this point. He was cheap for a few days in that starting lineup. But Beal sounds like he's 1 foot out the door. He's playing well off the bench. I mean, he had a really good game shooting last time out. But yeah, I'm very comfortable just kind of avoiding him. You would think him being on the bench definitely benefits Booker and KD. We haven't really seen that yet. In a matchup like this, I'm fine getting to either of them, but it's really tough to call anything a priority on the Phoenix side right now, even with the shakeup in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, KD and Book have barely above a double digit OF index, which is fine. They're 2 and 4% owned. Like Nick said, they're probably the only guys I'm going to get exposure to on this team, and purely as GPP plays at a low percentage. Tyus Jones actually has the highest. No, I'm sorry. Ryan Dunn has the highest DK value on this team, highest FD value. He's cheap, but like Nick said, the minutes could be really volatile. Like we really need him to close. Do you know if he ended up closing?
Yeah, I think he did. He's been
Okay.
closing. Yeah.
Okay. But he probably lost like maybe half a rotation in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to remember exactly the result of that game. But yeah, I mean, he's been 26 plus every night, which is what you want out of him. But again, I mean, we were playing him. He was like sub 4K on DK, around 4 flat on FanDuel. His price is coming up now, so he's not really as appealing as he has been.
I thought
Yeah,
I'd get a few
46 on
percent.
DK.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I don't
getting
mind him
zero.
as like the last piece in. Like, he does a lot when he's on the floor.
I might bump him up a little bit. It's not a bad matchup for him against Charlotte. And if he actually plays, 26 plus, then I don't mind it at 1%. I can't imagine getting more than a few percent, though.
Yeah,
A-
yeah.
Any, anything else here? Tyus Jones or Mason Plumlee both starting?
I mean, Jones at his price is fine, but again, I mean, I don't know, not something I'm prioritizing at all. Plumlee, like I said, no, I don't trust him. I'm hoping that people are still going to go there, but yeah, after yesterday, I don't think they will. So yeah, no one's getting to him, but I don't think we can really, as long as Nurkic is healthy, they're going to continue to split minutes.
So we only have Tyus Jones projected for 24 minutes. I have him for 27, and I'm still getting zero. So probably just tells us we don't really have to consider that any further.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Other side of this game, Charlotte. And by the way, this is only a 4 point. Phoenix is only 4 point favorites against Charlotte. Feels like it should be more, but LaMelo, 12.8 OF index, one of the highest rated plays of the day, sub 10% ownership. We have Mark Williams in the mid range, and then Bridges and Brandon Miller. Tell me about these guys.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation. I mean, we had a bunch of games with Miller out where both LaMelo and Bridges looked really good. We had a few games with LaMelo out where we could play Bridges or Miller. This is the first game I think in a bit, or maybe they did last time, where we have all three. The issue is they're all kind of priced where they should be. Obviously, LaMelo has the ceiling, even with all these guys healthy. I don't mind getting to him. It's just tough for me to call him a priority, even though he does rate really well in terms of OF index. I like him at the ownership. But there's a lot to pay up for tonight. I mean, we got Trey Young without Jalen Johnson. I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. So, like, the starters look fine. I think the one guy I actually do have interest in is Mark Williams at center. Kind of priced where he should be. But again, the Suns can't figure out what they want to do with their front court rotation. Pretty good matchup for him, especially when Nurk is off the floor. His minutes have been climbing, even with Richards playing pretty well. It sounds like they want to trade Richards, maybe. But yeah, I've liked Mark Williams and what he's doing. The minutes are somewhat inconsistent, but they're up. So like the inconsistency still exists, but it's in a higher range. So Mark Williams for me, I don't mind getting to. I think he's priced favorably on both sides.
I'm with you. Yeah, the only two players I'm getting exposure to right now, I don't think this will change, are Mark Williams and LaMelo, and I'm getting more Mark Williams. Sorting by DK value, he's a clear top value on this team. LaMelo's next. His price is up, so the DK value, FD value scores are pretty okay with a strong OF index. I think they're both great plays. I'd like to be over the field on both. Let's see. Anything else on Charlotte?
No, again, I think they're getting a little bit healthier than they have been. Everyone's kind of priced where they should be. Mostly just Williams, maybe a little LaMelo.
We did just get news that Jordan Poole is ruled out. Koulibaly's available and Carrington is available. So we'll take a look at Washington in a few minutes after the model updates. You're making 4 times as much money in hockey that you don't even like. I don't like hockey either, man, but 4 times as much money. I mean, does that mean I'm going to lose 4 times as much as I've been losing the last week or two?
Yeah, man. I never really mess with hockey. It's a fun game to watch, but as far as DFS goes, I just never got there. It's tough to juggle two sports at the same time.
I played pick'ems for hockey for a while and I was doing pretty well, but then there's NBA and I'm better at NBA.
Yeah.
So this Houston Washington game is this first game. Did we have Jordan Poole out already?
I think he was in.
Okay, we had him rolled in. Do you want to skip this game for now? We'll come back to it. Remind me in a couple minutes. Let's go to
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That works.
let's go to Dallas and Lakers. Let's start with Dallas. I think they're a little bit more interesting. Have they played a game since that game that Spencer Dinwiddie did not start the second half?
Yeah, they did, and Spence didn't start. So
Okay.
this is a team where I think the starting lineup matters more than maybe any other right now.
Mhm.
Kids trying to figure things out with both Luka and Kyrie out. Credit to him. I mean, he's trying. At the same time, I mean, it's been kind of a mess. Last night we saw Najee Marshall get the started point. If that happens again, I definitely think we want to go to Najee. I think most people thought we'd see either Hardy or Dinwiddie. When Dinwiddie got benched, it was Hardy that came in at the half. But yeah, the starting lineup matters here. I don't really want to play Kleber if he's going to start, but Clay looks fine where he's priced. Najee looks really, really good though if he's going to be the starting PG here again.
Yeah, I'm looking at Najee's rotation in the last game, and it's pretty good. 33 minutes, and it's probably exactly what you want to see. Checked out for a few minutes in the first quarter, came back in for a solid stretch, and then closed the second. He would have closed the game, but they were kind of getting blown out. Game was out of hand, so he lost that last, what is that, maybe a minute and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
Spencer Dinwiddie still played 30 minutes off the bench, but is this DraftKings price as if he's starting? I mean, maybe he would have played 30 minutes either way, but what do you, 6,500 at 0%?
I mean, at 0%, I get it, but again, I don't know that we can get there unless he's starting. 6% usage last game coming off the bench. I know that's a really small sample of data, but it seems like Grimes is getting up most of the shots with the second unit. So yeah, I don't know that I get to Spence. If there's anything else for Dallas, it's probably Derek Lively. Gafford's hurt. Obviously, these are two guys that kind of cannibalize each other's minutes and upside. So with Gafford out, I'm not really concerned about Dwight Powell getting a ton of run or Maxine Prosper necessarily. So Derek Lively looks even more appealing than usual. 5,100 on DK seems way too cheap. He looks really good here.
Yeah, it's a pretty big price disparity between there and FanDuel. I mean, at 6,300 on FanDuel, we probably have to have interest in him there too, right?
Yeah, he's not bad over there. It's just you're taking up the one center spot. Not the best matchup for opposing centers against your Lakers, but at 5,100 on DK, I mean, you got to kind of consider him a core play. You'd definitely be in a lot of cash lineups, I imagine.
Sorting by OF index, no one stands out, but also no one's above 7K here. So the 8.7 for PJ at that price is strong. And then for Derek Lively, the 8.2 at 5,100 is very strong. Sorting by DK value, yeah, Lively and Najee really stand out. PJ's fine in the mid range as a tournament guy. And then same thing on FanDuel, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Najee and Derek. On FanDuel, Najee stands out more than Lively, obviously, due to the price difference that's reflected in the ownership. Jaden Hardy's projected for 22 minutes at 1% ownership. Can we still take shots here, or is this just are we just
Yeah.
chasing at this point?
I mean, where's he priced? The price has come up a little bit more than we wanted to. He still has some upside. It's good to see him playing consistent minutes. Yeah, it seems like kids starting to trust him a bit more, excuse me, a bit more, which is obviously good to see. But yeah, I just don't like that his price has come up. I'm fine getting to him, but probably only if you're kind of playing a large field tournament, maxing it out. Not really a priority right now.
It's just discouraging to see the minutes not really having like he just doesn't have a minute ceiling even with Luca and Kyrie out, and if he doesn't have the ceiling without either of those guys in, I mean, just what is there? Jason Kidd knows more than we do, and he doesn't think much of Jaden Hardy right now.
Yeah, the fact he's sick of Dinwiddie and he's starting Najee at PG tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, dude, Jason Kidd is just the guy seems angry all the time.
Yeah.
It blows my mind not starting Quentin Grimes because to me he's like the best tournament play on this team if he's starting at this price. I know it's up, but I think he was underpriced for a large part of the season. What do we have him
Yeah.
projected
Yeah,
for?
I was heavy on him yesterday thinking he was going to start. I had to pivot off a bunch, but he's the one guy off the bench I think we could still rely on to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Dinwiddie, no usage with that second unit. Grimes has been consistently pushing 23, 24%, which is good enough at his price. So yeah, I'm fine with Grimes. You mentioned Washington earlier too. I think at his price, like you said, he's viable. But if you need the discount, Grimes is a pretty solid pivot.
Yeah, I want to mix in some Quentin Grimes. Even better if he's starting. I mean, it's only the
Oh yeah.
second set of games, so it's going to be pretty easy to swap him in.
Yep.
Let's see. My Lakers. We're expecting everyone to play, right?
Yep, I don't think I saw anything on the injury report other than G Leaguers and the usual probable tags. So, yeah.
So we have, let's see, Anthony Davis, second on the model after Jokic, right? Yeah, him and Tatum are in that next tier, I guess. Anthony Davis still okay value numbers, 10,500 on DraftKings. It just, I don't know, maybe it's the appropriate price. It feels underpriced at 11%. I'm basically always going to be over on him. I think it's not a bad matchup against Dallas, but what do you think about it with basically only Lively in?
I mean, at his ownership, he's one of my favorite plays on the slate, if I'm being
Nice.
honest. I know he's expensive, but if you can afford him, like, no one's going to be able to slow him down at all. No Gafford, who usually does play better defense than Lively. He is relied on in matchups like this, and without him available, we're going to see a lot of Dwight Powell, Maxime Prosper. I don't think anyone's going to be able to slow AD down.
Yeah, that's going to be a big ask for them. So, are you're expecting Maxi Kleber again to start? We didn't really mention that for
I think
Dallas.
so. I mean, again, Jason Kidd seems to change his lineup every single day, so I can't say with confidence, but multiple projected starting lineups I've seen today have Kleber in at the four.
And it makes sense to me to go with that lineup again against this team.
Yeah,
Uh,
need some size.
LeBron James not ranked as highly by OF Index today. His price pretty close to 10K, but he's low owned. He's LeBron. It's kind of like he has a bad game, no one plays him. Next time he has a good game, everyone jams him in. So I'd still like to be over the field on LeBron, but Anthony Davis is my preferred pay up here.
Yeah, I don't mind LeBron, but he's in the same range as like Trey Young, who looks amazing, Jason Tatum, who looks really good. So he's just tough to get to, but that's the reason to play him because he is contrarian. But yeah, not a priority at all. I really do like AD, and I'm going to have much more AD than I do LeBron.
And you know that I love my boy Austin Reeves. We've talked about him on the show a lot recently because he's been a big part of every slate. At first glance, this ownership actually sounds kind of high to me. I know his price came down a little bit from where it was, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were crazy to be so bullish on him when LeBron came back, both him and AD in the lineup. But yeah, he had a huge game with him available. He's capable of it. The ceiling's there. I think there's other guards I'm prioritizing ahead of him, but I'm not going to think anyone's crazy for playing him. I do think he's a bit overowned at 20%. That seems a little bit crazy to me with this team healthy. But at the same time, he's proven me wrong more than once this season, so I wouldn't talk anyone off him.
He is projected for 37 minutes, which is very strong. It's a 6.5 point spread. So hopefully all the starters close and we get max minutes from everyone here.
Yeah.
Beyond the beyond the three studs, and Austin Reeves is a stud now. He's earned it. Rui, Max Christie, Dalton Connect. I feel like someone is missing here, but any interest in anyone else on the Lakers?
I mean, Christie's minutes have been better. He's actually been much better at basketball than I ever thought he would be. I thought we'd see
Yeah,
Connect
man.
in the starting lineup by now, and that really hasn't come to fruition. But no, really nothing off the bench. Just one more point on Reeves. Since they kind of shook things up, traded D'Lo away, he is the true point guard now. He's gone for double-digit assists, I think, in every game but one since that trade has taken place. So there's a lot of reasons to like Austin Reeves right now. But yeah, as far as the bench goes, nothing for me. I don't mind Christie as a last piece in, kind of similar to someone we talked about in the first game, Ryan Dunn. But like, yeah, they're just kind of whatever pieces. Like, fine getting to them to fit other things, but it's not like I'm rushing to play Max Christie.
With Max Christie, tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels like it's kind of a hot hand. Whoever is playing well is going to get those minutes, and most of the time it's Christie just because he's solid on defense and everyone else isn't.
Yeah, if Connect's on fire, it would cut into Christie, but he's gone over 30 in almost every game since Christmas, which you love to see for value. So yeah, I'm fine to keep going back to him.
Nice. Um, let's do one more game and then we'll go back to Washington. Minnesota and Pels. Let's start with the Minnesota side. This seems like one of the least interesting teams in the NBA this season. They're all pulling ownership. What are we doing with Minnesota?
Yeah, another team who could be shaking up their starting lineup. I think we could see DiVincenzo starting a point guard here. So at his price over on DK, he's going to be pretty interesting. Conley, I mean, he's the better defender, but in most matchups, they need the spacing right now. They need the scoring. Teams are double and tripling Anthony Edwards. I know this is getting redundant. I say it every Timberwolves slate, but it sounds like they're finally going to start mixing up this lineup. And you'll see it's kind of opened things up, giving him more minutes. Edwards is actually hitting his ceiling his last couple games. So I don't mind Edwards, but that is kind of contingent on DiVincenzo getting the start. If DiVincenzo does start at point guard, I actually do think he's a pretty interesting play. Definitely on DK. On FanDuel, yeah, I mean, you got shooting guard eligibility, 5,200. I think he's fine there as well.
I don't know if it was you that was on the stream with me, maybe like 2 weeks ago now, where Dante DiVincenzo was like the mega chalk after he went off 2 games in a row. He was only 4,200 and he failed that day. That day, the model identified him as a poor value. We
Mhm.
haven't projected for almost 30 minutes, but he is projected as a good value today. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
say that this is chalk. You want to avoid his ownership's also less because the price is slightly up, but I think this is fine. Assuming he's starting, I'm with it.
Yeah, I think it's very dependent on matchup. Like Conley's still going to get run when they're playing like the Trey Youngs or the SGAs of the world. As good as CJ and Murray have been playing, I don't think either of them really fit that mold. So I think we're fine to kind of lead on Dante again.
I am only I'm actually below the field on Anthony Edwards, but my next guy up is Naz Reid, getting a ton of Naz Reid. He's projected for 27% ownership at 4,500. That power forward eligibility is really important, I think.
Yeah, I like Reed. I mean, I'm always heavy on him. It seems like the field has been getting there more often recently, which I don't love to see. I think
Yeah.
he's kind of overowned on DK, but at the same time, you're going to be hard pressed to find that type of upside at 4,500. So I do like him there. On FanDuel, where you get the power forward eligibility, it's definitely as valuable as it is on DK. So yeah, I'm fine with him. I just liked him more when no one wanted to play him.
Yep, completely agree. And Rudy Gobert is down to 5,500 on DK. He's projecting as the top value on DraftKings for 33 and a half minutes. How confident are we that he plays 33 minutes?
Not super confident, especially against the Pels. You could go small. I mean, we're about to talk about them. Zion's back tonight. But yeah, not really a team you need to lean on him if they're trying to open things up for Ant. He's not necessarily a catalyst to that. So I think he's fine at his price, but never a center I'm excited to get to.
It's like the minutes could be really volatile. I played 38 last time out, 30, 28, 31, 31, 39. And so I think that the 33 and a half minutes projection is kind of aggressive. I don't think I'm even going to end up with the 16%, even though I like Gobert at the price.
Yeah,
Any,
I don't think I get much Gobert at all, honestly.
I've been playing some Julius Randle as a GPP lately, GPP play lately, but the model's telling us that he's just not a good value today. So I think, I mean, I have a couple percent, but this isn't a guy that I want to target like the couple other guys on this team.
Yeah, like he's been the guy who's been most consistent for this team, but I think with these shakeups in the lineup, he might be the one who suffers because once Ant has his space, that usage is going to go back up for him. He's not going to be passing down low to Randall much anymore. So I think And again, we're not dealing with enough data to say any of this with conviction. I think I'm kind of off Randall, and I'm going to be more on the guards for a little bit until we see something tell us to do otherwise.
And then I'll mention Jaden McDaniels. He's boring, but he projects out as good DK value at 4,300, 11%. Last guy type of player, just makes lineups work. I don't mind him.
Yep, throw him in that bucket with Dunn and Christie. Same play.
Yep, exactly. Other side of this game, New Orleans Pelicans. Who's out for this team?
Zion's back.
Zion's back. Trey Murphy's out. That's the new one. So Trey Murphy, no Jamal Cain, no BI. DeJounte, did we get an update? He was questionable.
Last I checked, still questionable.
All right, we'll talk about it as if he's playing because he is in the model. We have Zion projected for 25 minutes. Like, no one on this team is pulling ownership except value shots on Brandon Boston. It's a close spread. I mean, these guys are priced as if Zion's not playing. What do you think about the 25 minutes projection and how it affects the rest of the team?
I mean, Trey has been the guy. So him coming out and Zion coming in, I still think there's a little bit of usage to go around for the rest of the team. I don't mind Murray if he's in or McCollum at their respective prices. It's just this is the game with one of the lower totals. As bad as Minnesota has been, they're still decent on defense. I don't mind the guards here. I don't think we could pay that for Zion until we know that he's playing more minutes. I think we have him for 25, which isn't really enough in the model. But yeah, the guards look good. And if Murray's out, McCollum's going to look really good. And I think you mentioned Brandon Boston. Just keep in mind, Alvarado is back. I don't like the price on Alvarado, but he is someone who would affect minutes for someone like Boston, I think. So just something to keep an eye on.
I mean, DeJounte and CJ have double-digit OF indexes. That's fine. Zion, I just don't see how we can even consider him starting by DK value. Yeah, at the 9K is just 7,800 on FanDuel even. It's not enough minutes, but Brandon Boston, 14.3 DK value. Then we have Missy. I don't know. I think Herb Jones, if we want to go beyond the model, I think he's okay to take shots on with Trey Murphy out. But beyond that, I probably won't have any exposure here.
Yeah, Missy's been good, but only in certain matchups. I don't think this is the one for him against Rudy.
I have him projected a lot worse than I usually do today. So yeah. I'm sure that's Timberwolves defense.
Yeah, he always has a high ceiling, but it's been kind of matchup dependent. If you go through the games he's having success, it's like against the Washingtons of the world and other teams with pretty bad defense.
Team with a good defense, Houston Rockets. 12.5 points. Is that right? I feel like it should be more, but they're going against a battered Wizards team. Amin Thompson, chalk today. I think he's good chalk. He's going to start. What do you think about Amin, and then how do you want to mix in the rest of the team?
I mean, Amin's really the guy. He looks tremendous. His price really isn't up as much as it should be. We're missing Jabari Smith, but we're also missing Tari Eason, which really secures the minutes for him. Dylan Brooks, for whatever reason, is involved on offense again. I don't think that I can get to him just because of who he is and what his price is, but he's not insane. But really, yeah, it's Thompson more than anything. Sengun looks good, but there's a lot of really good centers tonight for a bit more, a bit less. He's kind of in a weird range. As a contrarian play, I don't hate it, but I think they just added Jalen Green to the injury report.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Green's out, I wouldn't mind getting to some Van Fleet. I already like Amen regardless. If Green's in, I do like Green. But yeah, that's big as far as my Van Fleet exposure goes because his usage tends to fluctuate. We see him down in the 10%, even single digits at times, and then up into the 30s. I think Green being off the floor would be huge for him. Would have to look into that. And then Cam Whitmore, if we get one of these guys ruled out. We already have a few bodies missing. His minutes are inconsistent, but when he's on the floor, he's been tremendous. So he's kind of the value piece, very much boomer bust unless Green's out. Love Thompson regardless. Van Fleet if Green's out. If Green's in, I don't mind Green at his price. He's underpriced for what he can do.
Nice. I like it all. And if Jalen Green is out, so do you know if Reed Shepherd is with the team tonight, or is he just in the G League for now?
G League. Yep, they're done for now.
Okay, so I think we're really going to like that Cam Whitmore call. And then I also just want to mention Aaron Holiday's name if Jalen Green gets ruled out. We only have him projected for 14.5 minutes now, but he's mid price, and no one's really going to think of him. If Jalen Green gets ruled out, they're all just going to go to Cam Whitmore. But Aaron Holiday, I mean, I might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure he has played minutes alongside Fred VanVleet, and we have him projected to play minutes alongside each other tonight. So I think that's just someone to keep in the back pocket if Green gets ruled out.
Yeah, it's not too crazy.
Yeah, Cam Whitmore is a priority for sure.
Yeah, mid-price on DK, it's not insane, but I don't know. He's risky.
Let's go to Washington. So no Poole. We have Koulibaly. We have Carrington. No one projects well, but Kuzma's price is still really good, projected for very low ownership. I mean, it's a blowout spot against Houston, but what's your interest in this Washington team now?
I mean, Kuzma's up to 30 minutes. You got to think he's going to take the usage here. At his price, I think he's fine. Like, I don't know. Whenever I look at a lineup with a minute, I don't feel great, but on paper, he's a good play here. I think Champagne takes the starting spot. We're going to see Bub Carrington at the point, Bilal at the two. I've been playing Koulibaly all year. He's missed the last few games, but with Kuzma being Kuzma, I don't think he's a great player. He's priced, unfortunately. So more than anything here, um, it's probably Kuzma, and that doesn't feel good to say. Bub Carrington is kind of one of these hybrid guys that I always talk about. If the game's close, he's going to get his minutes. If the game's a blowout, they still want him to get his minutes. So Bub and Kuzma for me here. Not much else I'm crazy about, though.
Yeah, Kuzma's the guy I'm getting to on DraftKings, taking some tournament shots on Joval. Although I will mention, it feels like kind of a tougher matchup against Steven Adams than it is against most other backup centers, but still don't mind wasting a few percent on Jonas today. And then with Koulibaly, I'll mention we haven't projected for 35 minutes. His value scores are not good. But if he's 2% owned, or I should say, if he's 19% owned on FanDuel at 6K, he should be more than 2% owned on DK at 6,400. I know like the steals and the way lineup construction salary works on FanDuel is different, but this is still too wide if he's really supposed to be 19% owned on FanDuel.
Yeah, and he's a guy I've been playing all year. But like I said, with Kuzma back, I'm a little bit hesitant. But if no one's getting there, he is a good contrarian option. Definitely has shown us he is upside.
Well, it's like Kuzma's back, but Poole's out, and Poole takes up
That's
more
fair.
usage than Kuzma does. So it's and with Bilal too, it's like we're just hoping he scores 15 real points, and it's kind of like Jalen Green. You know, he's going to pick up the other stats and hopefully just get close. But I did want to mention Justin Champagne, who I'm pretty interested in. Going to go completely overlooked, projected for 0% ownership. Assuming he starts, do you have interest in taking shots? His price is up a little bit.
Yeah, I do, but the price increase is tough for me. Like we've talked about, I think three plays that are 4K that I think are very similar to him, and you're paying 1K more for him to not get that contrarian. Like Green, Christie, McDaniels, same play as Champagne to me, but you're paying more for Champagne. So unless those other three suddenly draw a ton of ownership, I'm not crazy about it.
Ranking these value plays, I can tell you Amon Thompson is very clearly number one. Detroit's not playing today, right? Yeah, that's Amon Thompson number one,
Yeah,
and then
this is very dependent on starting lineups, Jose. Thompson, regardless, I think is number one. I would say Marshall two if he's starting a point guard. DiVincenzo three. Pritchard's great though, as long as White's out. We'll talk about Boston in a bit. Krejci's the last of that list for me. Then probably Whitmore. As much as I like him, the minutes are going to be less than the rest of that group.
Gabe Vincent in. Won't that affect Christie? It's possible, but I don't. I don't really see why.
Yeah, Christie plays off ball. I mean, Gabe Vincent's there to be the backup point guard behind Reeves, so I don't worry too much about that. If anything,
And
it might take away all the Shake Milton minutes, but I don't know if they have one over the other on the depth chart right now.
Edwards back-to-back 50 games. Are you saying he's dropping 50 tonight? Is that what the comment's saying?
I don't know. Like I said, I think DiVincenzo being there and actually being a threat from the 3 point line is making all the difference for him right now.
Rudy Gogurt. Nice. How do we feel about a Kongwu since Jalen Johnson's out? Is Atlanta the next game?
I think that's a late one. All
Yeah,
right.
we covered the ones before it. Yeah, let's just jump to Atlanta. So what was the question? How do you feel about a Kongwu with Jalen Johnson out?
I'm okay with him. I mean, again, I think he probably still only plays 24 or so minutes. More than anything, I think it's going to benefit Dyson Daniels and Hunter. But yeah, I will say this. I trust him more than Capella right now for whatever that's worth. But 4,600 does feel a bit too cheap. Um, would be curious his ownership compared to like a Nas Reed. Yeah, they're both popular, so you're not getting a ton of leverage. He's pretty much Nas Reed, exactly the same play.
Yeah, I can't disagree there. Clint Capella, modest ownership at 5K. I mean, if everyone's going to be thinking about a Kongwu, Capella could be a pretty fun GPP play. Not someone I'm prioritizing at all.
Yeah, I'm
And
a little, I don't know, burnt out of Capella. I don't think I get there much.
getting a decent amount of Ricochet, though, at a 2% owned, projected for 26 minutes, could be a spot where, I don't know. I think we can take advantage of that a little bit. Are you over on him? Are you getting him at all?
I don't think it's insane, but just keep in mind Bogdanovich is back tonight. He played against the Lakers, but he's missed a couple weeks otherwise. So some of these good reassure games have can't come with Bogdan out. And the one game he had that was bad over the last four was the game that Bogdan was available. So I think he cuts into him directly. I know with Johnson out, maybe they could both get there. They're both cheap enough. But I think I'd rather go to Bogdan than him. And even saying that, I'm not crazy about Bogdan. So it's just like more than anything here, Trey Young, I think, is going to benefit massively. He's probably my favorite guard to pay up for tonight. Dyson Daniels, the price doesn't look great, but I think he's kind of second in line. And then DeAndre Hunter, regardless of whether he starts or not, I honestly prefer him coming off the bench. I think he gets more usage when he's not completely overlapped with the Trey Young minutes. But yeah, it's Young all day for me. I'm going to have a ton of him. Daniels, then Hunter in that order. I don't mind these other guys we're mentioning, but I don't know. I'm not really bullish on any. Jose did bring up Krejci. I don't know. I don't really love that. He'll probably get minutes over. Um, I don't know. Roddy Barlow. I mean, Matthews is down there. It's just like you're playing roulette with the bottom of this bench.
See, Steph or Trey better play on FanDuel.
Trey for me.
It's Trey Young by the model. Yeah, Steph is way down here today. You like Kessler in the Atlanta game with Trey?
His girlfriend just
Walker
won
Kessler.
Miss America, so maybe that's a boost.
Walker Kessler's?
Yeah, I think it was Kessler, right? Am I
He's
thinking of
dating Miss
someone?
America, dude.
Yeah,
Shout out to
let
Walker
me double
Kessler,
check. I think
bro.
it's worth fact checking.
Dude,
Yeah,
being in
Miss
a
USA. Yep, Miss America winner is dating Walker Kessler. Yep. So shouts out. But yeah, he's been solid, man. And I mean, there's still no John Collins, which helps him a bit. This is a good matchup. Atlanta doesn't play much defense in terms of the front court. With Johnson out, it's even better. So yeah, I'm fine getting to Kessler. I think he's a little bit underpriced, even though the minutes haven't been there. You look at the matchups he's dealing with: Orlando, Miami, New York consecutively. As far as front court matchups go, those are terrible. I think we see a good game out of Kessler here. That's a really good shout.
I see Daniel's going to lock down Sexton as Sexton chalk. So here's the thing about these individual matchups. Like I talk about, we can maybe consider them sometimes when it's like Lou Dort, but like Dyson Daniels is just a little different. He is a good man-to-man defender, but like he gets a lot of steals by playing the passing lanes really well. He's not directly just taking the ball out of these guys' hands while they're dribbling. And so I think that he actually is kind of overrated as a defensive player right now. And he's not going to be guarding Sexton every possession. There's going to be pick and rolls. They're not always going to be on the court at the same time. So I don't really care about that specifically. Not saying that I love Sexton and I'm still trying to get away if I can, but not because of Dyson Daniels.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But yeah, if you super chalk, and it's always good to kind of poke holes in the chalk as much as you can. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Sexton. I think he's priced where he pretty much should be right now. Obviously, with George and Clarkson out, we're going to see a boost for him. I like him, but if he's the most popular play on the slate, I'm very comfortable coming in under the field.
I will point out it's one of the top values on the model. 10.0 OF index at his price, very strong. Even on FanDuel, very strong value. So the 52%, I get it. I am slightly over that, not jamming in Sexton today, but he is in more than half of my lineups right now. And then I'm actually under on everyone else on this team except for Walker Kessler.
I mean, the fun talking point is Sensabaugh. Like, can he maintain the ridiculous point per minute production that he's had? 2 games in a row that he's had 30+% usage when he's on the floor, taking a ton of threes, made 12 combined threes his last 2 games. Like, these are not numbers that he's going to be able to maintain. But at the same time, his price has not come up at all on DK, and he's not very popular. I think Sensabaugh off the bench is a pretty good value play in a matchup like this. Fine getting to him, honestly. And then Juzang and Collie are both starting his value. I honestly think I prefer Sensabaugh over both, which is a little bit eerie to say out loud, but all three of them are viable. I just really think Bryce, if he can even do, I don't know, 3/4 of what he's done these last 2 games, you're going to be pretty happy where he's priced.
So last time when we were during the stream, we assumed Bryce Sensabaugh was starting. He was the top play or top value in the model, I should say. When we got news that Potter was starting, Bryce Sensabaugh was still ranked above him in the model. He fell down. He wasn't the top value on the day anymore, but he ended up getting there. No one swapped off him. He was 37% owned versus Potter's 8%. Let's say Laurie's ruled out and Potter starts again. He's going to come in low. I think we could take shots. We're not jamming though. But you mentioned you're still interested in Sensabaugh off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're dealing with kind of limited minutes. Like he hasn't really gone over 30, but I just love what he's doing on the floor. Like I said, to have a 30+% usage with a lot of high usage players out, including Clarkson, who usually runs that second unit, there's a lot of reasons to like him right now.
And I saw a question about Svi in the chat. This is definitely a play you're going beyond the model if you want to play him, but I think it's great. I think he's a strong GPP play, even coming off the bench at like the price is slightly up, 37 and 4K. But if literally no one's going to play him, better if Laurie's out. I'd project him for a few more than the 15. But as it is right now, I have two lineups with him out of my 150. So if Laurie's out, I'll probably get a few more.
Yeah, 3 point dependent, need his threes to go in, but against Atlanta, one of the highest total games on the slate, I think it's a pretty decent play.
Well, the thing with Svi is he's not as three dependent, I think, as people think, because he's getting stocks. 3 stocks is pretty huge. A couple rebounds, a couple assists. Like the threes are what's going to keep him on the court. But I think he has a couple ways to get there. Just the price is slightly higher than I want to pay. Right
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He's taking the threes, not making them, but still hitting
there,
value.
you go.
So
Yeah,
it's good to see he's taking them because if he starts to hit them, I mean, you're doing even better. So I'm fine with it. Yeah.
yeah. Bryce is questionable. Bryce Sensabaugh for tonight, so I'm
Good
assuming
job.
Johnny Juzang would be the one to probably absorb a couple of those minutes, right?
Yeah, Juzang is going to start either way.
And
But yeah,
Svi.
I think he would benefit. Filipowski, too. I know he's listed as a center, but he would definitely see some increased run.
Let's jump to the next game, Miami and Golden State. Miami, man, Jimmy is smiling from ear to ear right now. Jaime Jaquez, or did Miami end up winning last night? Double
I can't
overtime?
remember. No, they went to OT with Sacramento. I
Yeah,
think they
double.
lost in OT. Yeah, double OT.
All right. Jaime Jaquez had the best game of his young career. Projected for how many minutes, Jaime Jaquez? 31. I mean, he's chalk on FanDuel. If he's 35% on FanDuel, he should be more than 10% on DK. This price difference is not that great. Let's start with Jaime Jaquez since he's the most popular. What are you doing there?
I mean, I like him. I am a little concerned. This team just played last night. He played 45 minutes. He's going to be pretty beat. Usually, shooters are the guys that are affected by things like that. I mean, he does enough that I think he can still get there. I like him as long as he's starting. But yeah, what's his ownership? I don't know. I honestly prefer him on DK where he's more expensive.
Yeah,
But yeah, I can't argue with him being a good play. He's going to play 30 plus as long as this game's competitive.
I'm hovering just above that 10% on DK right now, so I'll probably be around there by the time that game starts. Starting by OF index, Bam and Tyler Harrow, single digit OF index. I mean, I don't even know if we can call them strong tournament plays today, given how poorly they read out in the model, and their minutes are projected normal.
Yeah, the thing is, with Butler out, Hero's price went way up, and Bam just hasn't really flashed the ceiling consistently. I do think this is a good spot for him to go against Golden State, but there's just a bunch of centers in different price ranges that I have ranked ahead of him. I'm fine getting to either. Neither are priorities. Would prefer Bam over Hero if I'm choosing one. But yeah, Hawkes is really the best play here, point per dollar.
Who's the other guy here? Yeah, Terry Rozier. I had to bump him down. I don't want it. Model's telling me it's okay to not play him today. Not that he's projected for that much ownership, but I guess the price just works.
Yeah, he's another guy I prefer coming off the bench. He's been closing lately. I don't know if we can rely on that moving forward. We've seen Robinson close at times. We've seen Jovic get extended run when he's shooting the ball well. But yeah, I don't think it's crazy. It's just, do you really want to play Rozier over Hawkes for just 100 cheaper? Probably not.
I have some interest in Jovic as a GPP play. Minutes haven't been there the last couple games, but if they are, he's pretty good. So no one's going
Yeah,
to play him. I'm taking a few shots.
yeah, I don't mind Jovic.
Other side of this game, Golden State. Let me see. Golden State's been one of the toughest teams, man, and I'm getting exposure to like half of these guys. So go ahead.
It's tough. TJD coming off a terrible game. I still like him at his price as long as he's starting. No Kaminga, we got to keep in mind. So that's been benefiting guys like Wiggins, Draymond. Not enough that they're like smash plays or anything, but enough that I'm interested. I mean, Moody off the bench with Kaminga out should be playing 24 ish. plus minutes. I don't mind him as a value play. Never feel too good about it. Can kind of say the same thing for Buddy Hield. I think Moody has the higher floor of the two. He'll probably the higher ceiling, but it's Steve Kerr we're dealing with. I mean, these rotations can change night to night. Schroeder next to Curry, never interested. When Curry's out, I'll play Dennis Schroeder all day. But starting next to Curry, just don't have interest. If anything, it's probably Wiggins and TJD here for me is like tier one plays. Don't mind Green. I think he's a little bit underpriced, but not the best matchup. Again, another game with a pretty low total.
Nice. I want to jump back to Miami real quick because I just did a quick Twitter search. Thank you, Unicorn Love. I didn't see Tyler Herro was questionable. I actually kind of lean towards he's out just from my 30 seconds of research on a Twitter search. How would, let's say he is out? Is that something that maybe you want to plan for ahead of time, and then who gets the bump? I guess.
I mean, Rozier and Hawkes are both in the starting lineup either way, but I think those are the two to benefit the most. We got to keep in mind Drew Smith has been playing really good this year, but he busted his knee up, so he's out of the rotation now. So they don't have much guard depth, especially with Jimmy unavailable either. But yeah, I think more than anything would be Hawkes and Rozier. Hawkes ahead of Rozier; those would be the first two. You would have to think Duncan Robinson probably starts at the three, and they use him for spacing. I would like him, but his minutes have been so inconsistent. But yeah, it would be Hawkes first, then Rozier, then Jovic and Robinson probably as the second tier plays. Burks probably breaks into the rotation. I just can't trust the minutes for him right now, even with Hero out.
Yeah, and the thing with Burks is I feel like he's a guy who, when he's projected for some minutes, he's going to show up as a good value. Pay attention to that. If he shows up as a good value, I guess we can take shots. But if not, I really don't think we have to even talk about
Yeah.
it.
I don't think there's a world where he starts. If he did, I'd be interested, but I think it would definitely be Robinson and or Jovic ahead of him.
DFS buddy in the chat mentioned Khalil Ware. It's tough. He's a tournament option. I mean, he's cheap. He's probably going to come in very low owned. Problem is he's center only on DK.
Yeah, I mean he's been balling. I don't mind it. I don't know. Golden State's kind of small though. I don't know that they need him tonight necessarily, but if you're looking for like something in large field to get different boomer bust with upside, he does kind of fit that mold. I'm fine with it. It's just you're using a center spot for a guy who may not get enough minutes.
I'll mention Duncan Robinson too if Arrow's out. Just everyone on this team gets a boost, so that's why you should sign up for OccupyFantasy.com. As little as $1 a day gets you access to the model, and you can see the updates after the lock. Last game, real quick. Let's talk about Boston Denver. Boston, was it Derek White?
White's questionable and Hauser, I think.
All right, so let's talk about it as if everyone's in. I'm getting to Tatum.
It's not Hauser, Walsh. Excuse me, Walsh, not Hauser. But yeah.
Okay. Well, as it is now, let's say everyone's in. I'll take I'm not even with this 20%. I'm at 15 right now on Tatum. Just a couple percent of the other guys. What about you?
I mean, it's tough. White missed shoot around
Yeah.
with an
Yeah.
illness. I don't know if that's like, hey, go rest up, we'll have you for the game, or if that's just take the day off, rest all day, all night. Usually, when a guy misses shoot around, it's a bad sign. If he's out, I think we're going to see Hauser slide into the starting lineup. I'm never someone who likes to play Hauser as a starter. He's had some good games lately, though, so he's going to be pretty appealing. But I think I'd rather get to more Pritchard, even coming off the bench. We see when any of the other starters are out, doesn't matter the position. Pritchard is the guy who tends to benefit the most. So definitely fine getting to some of him. But yeah, Drew Holiday's price, I know he's inconsistent, but he just feels too cheap on both sides for what he's capable of. You'd have to think with White out, they rely on him more at the point guard position. So Drew would look great. Really do like Pritchard as a tournament play. And it is going to bump up Tatum and Brown a little bit. Tatum's kind of priced at a point where he's easy to build with. You could pay up at guard if you're not playing Jokic, get him in there with one of those expensive guards. So I get it. I like him. But at the same time, I don't know that he's as valuable as maybe the field thinks he's going to be. So more than anything, it's going to be the backcourt, regardless of whether White's in or not. I think Drew's underpriced. I do like Pritchard a lot off the bench, assuming White's going to be out.
Yeah, we just got some fun notification. Give me a second on that one, fellas.
Okay, there's the downgrade that matters. Jokic is probably.
Yeah. So before we wrap up Boston, I think I would like to do this. Just take out Derek White and build as if he's not playing. I bumped just literally everyone else. I had to bump Peyton Pritchard the most, but keep in mind too, like it's different when I don't know. Pritchard's a good play. That's it.
Yes.
He's fine. He's not great. He's fine. Other side of this game though. So Jokic is questionable. What do we do, Nick?
I am not playing DeAndre Jordan. I don't care. He's gonna start. I just won't play him. Maybe that burns me, but yeah, he's going to be very popular as value, even in the late game. I think people are going to want to pivot onto him, but he could very easily get played off the floor here. I don't know what it is. It's bias. I don't even think he should be in the league. You could have the counter argument to this. I'd love to hear it, but I'd never feel good about playing him. It would be more Murray and Westbrook. They've both been pretty productive, even with Jokic on the floor, but they're going to absorb a lot of that usage. Still no Aaron Gordon either. So yeah, I mean Peyton Watson probably slides in the starting lineup, unless they go to Jordan. They don't have Zeke. Zeke Naji still exist? I don't know.
I don't
Like
think he's here.
if Saric starts at center, he's with the team. I would play Saric. If Jordan starts at center, I'm not playing Jordan. And I know that's gross, and I don't know if the data is going to agree with this, but really, it's just I want more of the other pieces. Like I don't know that I want to play Jokic's backup. Um, yeah, man, it's tough. Like, do you want DeAndre Jordan if he starts? I think everyone's going to get there, but like,
I don't think so because I don't know if people are going to plan for this and they're already going to have the center spots. I think he's either way. He's going to come in lower owned. I'm not trying to advocate for him as a good play or bad play.
right? Yeah, I think I'd rather play Watson, hoping he starts. Even coming off the bench, he's priced similarly, so maybe you just leave that utility spot open. But it's definitely going to boost Westbrook and Murray.
I just took Jokic out and did a quick run, like very rudimentary run. But Russell Westbrook is now my highest exposed player, getting a ton of Michael Porter Jr., a lot of Jamal, Christian Brown, a lot of Tatum, Drew Holiday, basically everyone who benefits from someone being out. And if any of these come to fruition, then I should be ready, and hopefully we can take advantage of that.
Yeah, Russ first, then Murray for me, then probably Jokic
Derek
starts at center.
Derek White just got ruled out.
Good.
All right, so cool. Nice that we got that before the stream ended, and then Jalen Green is ruled in. It's a hit to Whitmore because of minutes, but I don't think it affects Amon like at all.
Yeah, still no Eason or Jabari Smith, so Ahmed should be
Yeah.
fine.
You want to see our lineups? All right, let's make a quick dummy, Nick. Go ahead if you want to rapid fire some players.
Okay, let's go with Najee Marshall and Eamon Thompson, assuming both are starting.
Yep,
Um, I think even with all this news, Trey Young is probably my favorite pay up tonight.
let's try it.
Um, and then let's see for value. I don't know. Drew looks really good now, 5,200.
We want to put Russell Westbrook at the
And
utility.
Russ, yeah, Russ. I think you could play Russ even if Jokic is in, but if Jokic is out, he's
I
going to
agree.
probably cry. Yeah.
Leaves us 6K for each position. Did you want to go with Lively at center?
Yeah, yeah. Lively's underpriced. I like that. If you didn't want to go Lively, I was going to say Mark Williams, but Lively for point per dollar makes sense. Do we have Sexton yet? I know we were both trying to get away from it, but
No, we can't fit him in now, but I think
oh,
I
that's fine.
actually kind of like this better with Holiday and Westbrook because it's just so much leverage if it works, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we could use one of those value plays from Utah, like a Sensabar or Juzang, or we could maybe
Do
go.
Sensabaugh.
What does that leave us?
7,900 for a forward, which
Ooh.
gives us Bridges, Randall, Markkinen. So we're gonna have to swap something around, but maybe play a different value play. You know, you can swap in or out Trey Young as a GPP play. But would you say this is
Yeah,
pretty
if
close to the
Lowry's
par?
in, he's in that range. Yeah, there's some options.
And Najee, Lively, Holiday, Westbrook. And then, I mean, you have 7,200 for three positions. You can fit in two studs. You could play Tatum and whatever point guards still fit in, like Michael Porter, probably.
Right.
Well, fellas, we appreciate you being with us today. Jokic is probable. He just got downgraded to questionable.
Both got downgraded, Mike.
Yeah, two downgrades. It's like if he ends up playing, whatever, I just lose money today. But I mean, I imagine a lot of the field's going to react to this similarly, but a lot also isn't. So, Jayhawk or Smitty, who's in the, we got Smitty in the Discord. Yeah, instructions to join that are in the description below, fellas. Appreciate you joining us today. Nick, anything you want to go out with?
No, just keep an eye not only on the news, but those starting lineups, especially for Dallas and Atlanta. I think we could see some weird stuff. Dallas has been shaking it up a lot. Golden State as well. Lineups matter just as much as the news does sometimes. So Miami is another one. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in today.